Hello everybody, welcome to this Games of the Week lecture. My name is Pepe Cuenca, I am a Spanish Grandmaster, happy to be here with all of you. And today we're gonna check a game that Magnus Carlsen, the current world champion, played against Ganguly in the Isle of Man tournament. You know why this tournament is so important?
Yeah, the first place gets
Exactly. So the winner of this tournament qualifies for the candidates. In the candidates, you know that 8 players are playing, and the one who wins the candidates will face Magnus Carlsen in the World Championship. So Magnus and Fabiano Caruana, both of them are playing in this tournament, even though they cannot qualify, of course, because Magnus is the current champion, and Fabiano Caruana has a spot in the candidates since he was the last challenger of Magnus Carlsen. Do you know Ganguly? Indian player, really strong. He beat me, I think he beat me 4 times. He beat me 4 times in the Rapid World Championship in Berlin, in the Spanish League twice, I think. So I'm having nightmares because in one of those games I was completely winning with a Benko Gambit, but he managed to beat me. And okay, so he's a super strong player, 2658 rated. And the game was really interesting, so why don't we start with it? And remember guys, in the YouTube channel you can ask me anything. I got you here in my phone so I can answer your questions. Okay, so e4 was played by Magnus Carlsen, c5, Sicilian defense, knight f3, d6. And here Magnus, in many of his games, he has gone for this bishop b5, which is more positional. So after bishop b5, there are different approaches for black here. You can play knight c6, bishop d7, or knight d7. For example, after bishop d7 takes, queen takes, and c4, you want to reach some sort of Maroczy structure with the white pieces. You want to go knight c3 and d4. For example, in the game between, I think Magnus Carlsen was playing this against Kovalenko, could be, in this Isle of Man tournament. So knight c6, knight c3, and Magnus went for e5, where later he went for bishop e7, bishop d8, knight d7, if I remember correctly. Magnus.
He was black.
Yeah, he was black and he played this line with e5, which is very interesting. It looks like this bishop is terrible, but then he managed to find a way for this bishop through d8, and then probably later via a5. Okay, this is another whole story, because in this game Magnus decided to go for the open Sicilian with d4. So c takes d4, and here the main line is after knight takes d4, also queen takes d4 is possible, because after knight c6 you want to continue with bishop b5, pinning this knight, and again you want to develop your pieces and then go long castle. But another story, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3, and here you have many possibilities. How this is called after g6? The dragon. And after e6? Scheveningen or something like that. It's a Dutch word. I don't know how to pronounce that. And after knight c6? Classical Sicilian. And in this game, Ganguly decided to go for a6, which is called the Najdorf, one of the most complicated Sicilians, I would say. A lot of tactics going on, and then the theory has been developed a lot during the last years. So here there are many possibilities for white. You can play bishop g5, going for one of the most sharpest lines in the Najdorf. You can play bishop e2, bishop e4, bishop e3, going for the English attack. Also f3 straight away, f4, and h3. h3 has been very trendy in the last years. The idea is rather simple. You want to go g4 in the next moves and then attack fast on the king side. And here again, different alternatives for black. You can play knight c6, e6 in order to strike in the center with d5. And in this game, black played e5. Of course, this is very natural in the Najdorf. This square is going to be weak, but then you win a tempo because this knight has to retreat. So where would you go now with the knight, with this knight on d4? Knight b3. This is what actually Magnus played in the game. There's another main move here. Okay. Knight f3 doesn't make so much sense.
F5,
Knight f5, the problem with this knight f5 is that after bishop takes, pawn takes d5, then black gets the center. And also, you can even go d5 straight away, I guess, in this position. So, knight f5 is also possible, of course. The other move is knight e2, and this is the main line. Because white's idea is to go g4, then bishop g2, and then the knight on g3 is doing a fantastic job because it protects e4, and in many variations you want to jump to f5, right? So black's idea in the last years has been to go h5 here in order to stop g4. And then here you have two approaches. You can play bishop g5, fighting straight away for the d5 square. You can go g3. Okay, but in the game, Magnus went for knight b3. And here, two main moves, bishop e7 or bishop e6, both natural. Ganguly decided to go for bishop e7, and now Magnus, continuing with the spirit of this line, he went for g4, right? So aiming to go g5, winning some space in the queen side. So how do you stop g5? Yeah, h6. So you don't need to stop that move, but then it's interesting because now white will struggle to play g5. You want to go h4. First of all, is that g4 is hanging, and even though if you manage to protect somehow g4 and then play h4, it's not going to be easy to play g5 because after this trade, then the rook on h1 will be hanging. So white would need like a lot of tempi to strike with this g5. Okay. So h6 was played, and now Magnus went for bishop e3. Now this move is more flexible than going straight away for bishop g2, because in many variations, maybe you want to keep this bishop on e2, you still don't know, and with bishop e3 and then queen d2, the position is more flexible because you have not decided yet how to castle. You can go long castle, you can go short castle, depending on the situation. And here, there are many, many interesting moves, b5, bishop e6, and in the game, Ganguly decided to go for knight b to d7. We have to say that this knight normally in the Najdorf is better placed on d7 than on c6, because from d7, after some b5 move, you can jump to b6 and then to c4, where you actually are attacking this bishop on e3 and also targeting the b2 pawn. So after knight b to d7, Magnus went for a4. Prophylaxis against b5. And now, how do you develop this bishop from c8? b6. And also you are stopping a5 ideas, right? So b6 was played by Ganguly. How do you continue if you want to push your pawns here? Also, we have to take in account that this bishop is going to put pressure on e4 right away in the next move. Yeah, so f3 this is what Magnus played. Makes a lot of sense because you reinforce the center with this e4 pawn, and now you want to continue with h4 and g5. And here, incredibly, Ganguly played queen c7, which is incredibly considered like a small mistake.
What's wrong with bishop d7?
Sorry?
What is wrong with bishop d7?
There's nothing wrong with bishop b7, and actually it was the best move according to the engines. Let's try to explain why. So bishop b7, black's idea after queen d2. What do you think? What do you think it's black's idea? You want to go long castle here?
No, white's not. I mean, white will play.
Yeah, but I mean, what's black's idea in the b5? You just blunder a pawn. h5. h5 actually helps white because now g5 is easier to play. So I just go g5 and then I gain more control over the d5 square. Okay, this is very tough. This is very, what did you say? d5. This was actually black's engine's idea. So this was the way to equalize the game. And now what happens if I take with my pawn? Okay, knight c5. I think I can take everything. Take, and then bishop c4, and then I managed to protect this guy on d5, and then white is going to enjoy fantastic advantage. So, put pressure on my d5 pawn. Sorry? Knight f8 again. I can play, for example, rook d1. Exactly, bishop b4. That's actually e takes d5 is a bad move, because after bishop b4, you're going to capture this pawn on d5, and if this central pawn falls, then black would be much, much better. So after d5, you have to take with the knight. Knight takes d5, knight takes d5, e takes d5, and now, yes? Bishop a5? That's illegal. That's illegal, yeah. You want to jump here? You want to get my queen already? Yeah, bishop h4, right? Ah, you said bishop g5.
Oh, I said a5.
a5. I mean, but
with the board backwards.
yeah, but you wanted to come here, yeah? Bishop h4 because now, or maybe you didn't. Ah, with the pawn. Okay, you wanted to go a5 here. All right, that's interesting. But okay, you give me like a free tempo, and now this b5 square could be interesting for me. I could develop this bishop over there. Then you are never threatening bishop b4 because I can just meet that with c3, right? So the idea here is to go bishop h4. And now, after bishop f2 only move, you want to go bishop g5. And again, if you go bishop e3, I'm happy with the draw. And if you move the queen, let's say I can play knight f6. And then again, this pawn is going to suffer. There's a lot of compensation going on here. You can go short castle, e4, open some lines. This king is not, actually it's not legal even to castle here alone on the queen side. And then it's going to be tough to castle on the king side as well. So this was the best idea according to the engines. Really tough to see in over the board. I mean, if you don't know the position. So instead, Ganguly played queen c7, which looks extremely natural to me. And now what do you think Magnus Carlsen played here?
Queen d2.
Queen d2, that's a natural move. A more direct approach, maybe, to attack? h4. Okay, queen d2, it's perfectly fine. But Magnus decided to go for h4. And here again, bishop b7 looked more natural, but now here Ganguly comes up with this plan with knight f8. Okay, he wants to put the bishop on e6, and now this knight could come to g6 at some point, and then try to jump to f4. Now, if we want to play g5, what do we have to do? Because if we play g5 straight away, then black takes, and then our rook on h1 is hanging. So we had to take with the bishop on g5, and this is not ideal because what we want to do is to kick this knight from s6 to gain some control on d5. So after knight f8, rook g1, exactly. So next move is going to be g5, and then we have some control on the d5 square. Bishop e6. As you can see here in the Najdorf, a lot of the moves are played in order to fight for this d5 square, right? g5, h takes, knight d7, and now what do we play? What are your candidates' moves? Yeah, knight d5, that's always a move that we have to consider.
Queen d2.
Queen d2, perfect. Some other moves?
Bishop e2.
Bishop e2, okay. Sorry, a5, that's interesting as well. Okay, but f4, it's also interesting. I mean, it's risky because we have our king in the center. So maybe we have to castle first and then try to push these pawns, right? Okay, but Magnus went knight d5. And now, this is a key moment actually for black. So do we take on d5 or do we move the queen?
So if you take on d5, you're losing a light square unit.
Yeah, which is very, very important in this position. Yeah, the bishop on e6.
Taking G.
But okay, okay. If you decide to take with the bishop, now how do you recapture on d5? With the pawn or with the queen?
Queen.
With the queen, always, most of the times. There are many positions in the Najdorf where you take with the pawn because there are some knight a5 and knight c6 ideas.
c4 could be next. Well, he's got to stop it with rook c8.
Yeah, I mean, now, actually, this rook has a problem because a6 is hanging. So if you go to
And
c8,
you go a6 and then to c4 if he moves, and then what the heck does he do about f7?
yeah, so for example, rook a7, what do you play?
Bishop
c4.
And now after knight e6,
G6.
f4 or g6?
g6.
G6 looks crashing, yeah? So you're going to destroy this black skin now. So there's no way of stopping g takes, and then you take here, then queen e6 just wins the game. All right, so after bishop d5, queen takes d5, black is in real trouble. So that's why after knight d5, we got to do something else.
Queen b7 is natural, or c6.
Yeah, queen b7, as you say, looks natural. Queen c6. In the game, Ganguly went queen c6. I cannot see a problem yet after this move. Queen b7. I think the reason of bringing the queen to c6 is that you are also protecting d6, which could be weak after some trades on e7. Okay, so now after queen c6, do we take on e7 or not?
Not take because knight on d5 good.
Yeah, I like the knight on d5. So, I mean, if we take on e7, I think black's fine because it's not easy to castle now because we got this a4 pawn. Also, there is this bishop b3 also all the time whenever we want to go a long castle here and our king will land on c1. We're going to struggle here. And then the knight on b3 is not a good piece. Black's plan is very, very simple. You want to go knight g6, maybe activate this rook, maybe also bring in another rook to the c file. And looks good for black. So that's why Magnus didn't go for knight e7. And instead, he went for queen d2.
Right.
This looks very, very natural. So what do we play now with the black pieces?
Knight g6.
Knight g6 looks like the most natural move to me. This knight is doing nothing here. And then from g6, you control f4. I'm not so sure you want to go long castle, short castle, because I think I'm going to mate you on the h5. But the knight has to come to g6, right? On f8 is doing basically nothing. Okay, so Magnus wanted to go long castle, but there could be some troubles in the future with the a4 pawn. Okay, still, you don't have real troubles because there's knight c7. But Magnus decided to, do something with this a4 pawn, and then he pushed this pawn to a5. Now, what would you play with the black pieces? Do you take this pawn? Do you play b5?
So you can't really stand still, can you? It's attacked 3 times.
Yeah, exactly. It's attacked by the knight, bishop, and the pawn, so you gotta do something about this pawn.
Move it up.
Sorry?
Move it up. B5.
b5 looks good. How about b takes a5? You like this move?
Like the 8 pawn is isolated. Like queen takes.
Yeah, queen takes or even a better move. Knight takes with a tempo, yeah?
Yeah.
Then this queen, where is this queen going? I don't know. I don't even see a square. Maybe c8 or something. This looks really, really sad. And as you say, the a6 pawn is going to be attacked easily. Sorry. So taking on a5 doesn't look like the best idea. And as you said, the pawn is attacked 3 times. So I think the best try is what Ganguly did in the game. So you close the position here, and then you still have this c file in case white wants to go for long castle, as Magnus did in the game. So long castle, and now normal moves here with the black pieces.
Rook C8.
Rook c8, putting pressure on the c2 pawn. And here there is a move that I 99% of the times play in this kind of Sicilians. That exactly when you don't know what to do, just move the queen away to b1. Here the king is safer than on c1 for sure. And then okay, you say pass, and we'll see what we do in the next move. Okay, so here knight c5 was played, and again, now we have a tough decision. Do we take on c5?
Closing the C file, but
Yeah, it's closing the c file, but it's also improving black structure, right? Because d6 pawn was weak.
yeah.
I-
C1, then
Knight c1, it's a passive move. I don't know if it's any good, but I wouldn't consider like my first choice here. It's interesting because you want to maybe go knight e2 and knight c3 or some stuff like that, but it doesn't smell well, you know. So, I mean, we have two options here. Either we take on c5 or we improve the rest of our undeveloped pieces.
if you can't take it on
Bishop E2.
Bishop e2. This is what Magnus played actually in the game. I think knight takes e5. There's nothing wrong with this move. You can play also after d takes. You can play moves like c4, and then you have a monster here on d5. So black can be worse. I mean, white. White should be a little bit better here, but Magnus, okay, decided to go bishop e2, and then he asks Ganguly, you want to take on b3? All right, if you take on b3, then my pawn structure will be ruined. But then at the same time, I got this c file now for my rooks. Now I can fight for the c file too. And then I got this b6 square. So taking on b3 is not that clear. So any moves for black here?
Knight A4.
Knight a4. Interesting. Very, very interesting, this knight a4. Now,
threat.
sorry?
What's the threat?
There's no threat.
He's moved away. Yeah.
Rook C1, I guess that's it.
Rook c1 could be an idea. Yes, also knight b4, but I think you got queen b7 and nothing happens. Knight a4 is interesting. There's no threat after knight a4, but knight's still there, and then it could be something going on. So, other moves for black. I mean, this bishop here on e7, we said that, okay, white is not going to take it, but there's always this threat of knight takes e7.
So you could go to D8.
Exactly, so bishop d8 is actually a good move. You cover b6.
Knight takes B3 is now in it. Oh no, in
It's not a threat because a5 is protected, but it could be a threat in the future. And now you ask white what he wants to do. And then here Magnus decides to go all in. He takes on c5, and now he tries to open the position. How?
Knight B6.
Knight b6, I think there is bishop takes b6, and this is just a pawn up for black, right? So pawn takes and queen b6.
Is the way to, really try to blow it open, or
C4.
I think I see.
c4, it's a move, but then after b4, be careful because your a5 pawn is gonna struggle. So Magnus decided to go for f4. Good move, and basically he's forcing black to take on f4 because otherwise f5 is gonna come, winning the game, right? And so e takes f4 was played, and now how do we take this pawn? With the knight, with the bishop.
Or later, right? But yeah, it's the other way.
Yeah. Still, it's not clear how this bishop is getting active. It could get active, but I mean, I love this knight on d5. And it's much better than this knight on g6. So if we take with the knight, I guess, black could take here on f4. It looks to me that black position is not that bad. You can play moves like the pawn here. I mean, it could be extremely dangerous taking this pawn. Maybe bishop d3 and g6 and then rook e1. But, I mean, if I play something like bishop e7 or even b4, no, b4 there's queen d6 maybe, but bishop e7 first covering d6 and then asking what you want to do. You play g6, I go f6 and then I close the position. Of course, I think white should be a little bit better, but rook h1 could be played. That's a move. And now maybe this move is legal, right? The short castle. But then you're going to get checkmated over there. So probably I have to go rook g8 or rook f8. And still not so clear, right? So that's why Magnus decided to take with the bishop. And the first question that comes to my mind is, can black take that bishop or not? Is it a good idea to take that bishop from f4, winning the bishop pair? You like trading pieces. Okay. So knight takes f4 is actually a bad move because now there are so many threats after knight f4. Can you see the threats? For example, if I play bishop e7, what would you play? Knight e6. And then if queen takes, bishop g4. Winning the game already. So not only knight e6, but also some g6 ideas, knight e6, and there's actually no way of stopping knight e6 here in this position, right? Do you see a way? I don't see a way. So if you go to d7, I don't know, but there has to be something for sure here. At least I can go g6. Yeah, e5, e6, g6, bishop f3, bishop g4, rook e1 looks crashing. And then actually you are not able to castle short side because, as we said, like the h file is open and we're going to get checkmated here. So that's why Ganguly decided to go for bishop e7 now. And what do we do? What are your candidates' moves? Knight b6, knight takes e7, bishop g3. You like knight e7? Yep, that's a natural move. This is actually what Magnus played.
Yeah, the d6 square looks tasty.
That's a key, exactly. I mean, if we go knight b6 here, probably rook d8.
Yeah.
It's not that clear because also you have to pay attention to this guy on f4. So let's say queen e3. Now, not so sure. It looks still dangerous for black. But maybe I could take now on f4 and queen takes, and there are not so many threats now. Looks solid for black, still dangerous. But I could try to create some counterplay. I don't know, maybe c4 or something like that. And I don't see a direct threat here against black skin. So in the game, Magnus took on e7, and Ganguly decided to take with the king.
Yeah. Covering d6.
Covering d6.
Kind of. Wait. Yeah, I guess not literal. Not. Yeah. You could
Is
go
it
there.
covered? It's not covered, right? So we could put a piece on the d6 square, and this is what actually Magnus did. Bishop g6, Now the king has to go back to e8. There are no possibilities of castling right now because black moved the king twice. And yeah,
E5 is possible.
e5 is possible, that's right.
Rook E1,
Bishop F3.
Bishop f3, more moves. We gotta be a little bit careful because if we, for example, play bishop f3, then after rook d8, it's not clear how you're gonna unpin because e5 is still not possible because f3 is hanging. So we gotta be a little bit careful here in this position.
I guess getting E5 in right now or moving the queen away is some way to
Yeah.
access, like queen C3 is hitting G7.
Queen c3 is a really interesting move. This is actually what Magnus played. I mean, just a direct threat against g7, and then there are not rook d8 ideas. Now I will be able to remove my bishop. And then if we play e5 straight away, I guess black can play rook h2. Now this rook is extremely active. You can never play rook h1 because the queen is covering also this square.
Queen
And sorry? And then you are threatening many ideas here with black. Maybe bishop c4, queen e4, as you say. So it could be tricky, suddenly. So that's why Magnus plays queen c3, and now how are we going to protect this g7 pawn? We're going to play a strange move here. Rook g8 or rook h7. There's no other way because you cannot go king f8. It's an illegal move. So in the game, rook h7 was played, keeping the options of going rook h1 or rook h2 at some point, activating this rook. So I prefer rook h7 rather than rook g8 because the rook on g8 is just a passive piece, right? On h7 it has the chance of getting active at some point, right? Okay, Magnus said, you know what? I did my job with this bishop, so I'm just going to retreat it. And now, what are we threatening with this bishop g3? Rook d6, exactly. Exactly. Rook d6, yeah, rook d8. I mean, we can trade rooks and then bring the other one and then finally penetrate on d6. So here there is a question that has to come to our minds. Is the queen e4 possible? Because it looks risky, but in a game we have to calculate everything because we cannot give free material without knowing what's going on. Bishop f3, bishop d3. I mean, after bishop f3, there could be a move here, queen c4. Probably black's losing too. Yeah, queen takes c4, bishop takes c4, bishop b7, and looks crashing also. So bishop f3 looks good. Yeah, bishop f3 looks really good. But maybe I got this move. Queen a4, b3. Yeah, this looks very, very good. Also bishop d3 is very natural because if we go to, let's say, c6, now forcing moves, captures, checks, and threats. And if f takes, yeah, that's there is an even a more direct approach here. Rook d6, only move queen e4, and now rook e1, and black resigns. So that's why black couldn't take this pawn on e4, and instead Ganguly went for b4. What do you think Magnus played here?
Black's threatening queen a4 or something.
Queen D2.
Queen d2, and if I play queen a4, b3, can I take this guy here?
Yeah, take.
And then
D2.
queen b2, give me that. Oh, the bishop is covered. I didn't see this. So queen d2, let me think. Queen a4,
D3 you can
b3, I can play queen
No, you
a5.
can play B3 first.
Here,
Yeah.
b3, yes, b3. That could be important now.
So when you
Still
play
should be good for white, but could be dangerous, right? Queen d2 allows some counterplay. Hey, buddy, how are you doing?
Good.
Okay.
I guess I'm good.
You guess you're good?
Guess I'm good. Yeah.
All right, so b4. So we don't want to allow b3, for example.
so queen D.
So queen d3, exactly. Queen d3 actually is threatening two things. So the first one is what?
Pawn.
The pawn on a6. And what's the only move for black here to protect that pawn?
Okay.
Rook a8 is a really passive move. It's still possible.
Yeah, it's
C4.
bad.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Okay, after rook a8, what would you play here with white? There are many ways, yeah, for sure, but
Bishop
bishop f3.
f3.
Okay. You want to go e5, right? In the next move. Very, very interesting. Sorry?
B3.
b3 again, but then b3 I can just take.
Queen. Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah.
So
Then C4. Yeah.
c4 could be an idea. But okay, rook a8 is passive, right? So we have many, many ways. So c4 was played. And now, where do we go?
Queen D6.
You want to go queen d6 or you want to keep the queens in the board? I don't know. What do you think?
And queen D6 like forces, I think, the queen chain. We has queen A4.
Sorry?
Like queen D6 and queen A4.
Okay, queen d6 is the best move. Now we're going to analyze what happens here. So queen d6. What are we threatening now? We are threatening actually the b4 pawn.
Yeah.
You said you wanted to go queen a4 here?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what can we do here. Queen a4. How about if I just take this guy?
B.
b3?
Oh, no.
You want to go b3 and then
No, don't.
boom.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Ouch, doesn't allow me. All right, now.
The queen takes B3.
Queen takes b3.
Yeah, but then you have a position.
Yeah, the position is looking bad. I don't know.
Fast C3 though.
Yeah.
Rook B8.
Black's
Okay.
king is
You want to go c3 here?
No, rook B8.
Rook b8, rook b6. Or maybe a better try, rook e6. Followed by queen e6 check, followed by bishop b8. Right? So, queen a4 doesn't work.
So we have to take. So you have to take.
Yeah, I mean, taking on d6, how do you take back? With the rook or bishop?
Rook.
Rook. And then after rook a8,
Oh, rook B6. Rook B6 and rook D1.
what's wrong with b3? That probably I can take. Rook a6, rook a6. Or maybe I can play b takes c2, check, intermediate move, king takes. And now, I don't know. Probably white's winning because the bishop pair is much stronger.
Yeah.
But it's not that clear. Probably, yeah, maybe white's winning, yeah? But okay, as you said, rook b4, rook b6 is just simple, yeah? Because, the system is requesting a log off or restart of the computer. Would you like to proceed? No. Okay, so now b4 is hanging, right? And after b3, how do we win a pawn?
You take with the ball.
Take, takes, and now this guy falls, right?
Oh.
You see that?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so that's why in the game Ganguly went all in. He took the pawn on e4.
Materialistic.
Yeah, And now it's an important moment. How do we continue?
What? How do I continue?
Yeah, with the white pieces. Magnus is a genius and he saw a beautiful combination.
Beautiful combination?
Yes.
You mean like made
Are you a genius like Magnus?
Is it like made in 1000?
So what do we play here?
Is it like made in 1000?
No, it's not May. It's not May. Not yet.
Rookie one, rookie. That's not cheap.
Okay, we gotta be careful because b3 is in the air, yeah?
Yeah, but then I'll play bishop d3.
So you want to go rook e1.
B3,
Okay. How about b3?
Bishop d3.
Oof, I want to take on d3, rook e4, pawn takes. You are playing with fire here.
Yeah.
You can't get burned, yeah? Really dangerous.
He's playing with fireball. Yeah, that's like.
But then I could take on g6 if you concept.
So rook e1, b3 here, takes,
Take on
takes.
king.
Okay, let me think a little bit. So take here, and then there's rook h1 later.
Oh, you can take on c2.
Okay, how about if I
Takes,
That's
yeah.
what he was thinking about.
d takes and then queen? You have to take with the king.
And rook d8.
No, it's rook d8. Exactly.
But you have king 8. No, okay, so instead of king c1, yeah.
Here?
Yeah, instead of king c1. King a1 then. Takes.
Takes and now?
No, like king a1. Like,
King a1 here.
Oh, and you have c1.
Oof. I can even.
Yeah.
I don't even need to promote a queen. Yeah. Book rook. Beautiful.
Oh.
So rook e1 is risky. Magnus found a better way.
I don't like being risky.
Exactly.
If I had to play a mistake instead of being risky, I would.
Queen take b4.
Queen takes b4 runs into probably queen takes e2.
Well, you said it was a brilliant combination.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out
It's
what
it's.
the
I mean,
right piece.
actually the idea is to blunder the bishop on e2, but
Can you take on a
In a different way,
take on a6, take on e2, then rook e1?
no, maybe I'll go b3. So
Yeah.
Magnus went for rook d4.
Well, see, I wasn't thinking about that.
Yeah, me neither. When I was checking the game, I was saying,
there is a way. Okay, there is a way to throw away a bishop that way. All right, good.
yeah. So now, can we take this bishop on e2? Probably now you know that the answer is no, but why?
Rook e1 looks pretty.
And then if I
Take
Well, rook d1.
go to f3,
Rook
And
take
then
e6. I
so
think.
rook e6.
Wait, rook d1 is the fourth thing.
Yeah, but then let's try to understand what happens. Here I got knight e7, and suddenly I got rook h1 ideas.
Jeez. So I think that was rook d1, so rook e1.
Rook d1.
Yeah,
You wanna go rook d1 here?
I think.
Okay, but it's not checkmate. Don't forget I got this e7 square. You wanna go rook d8 and then take it with the queen. Okay, but for example here I could go. Is this winning? I don't know. I mean, after queen d8, I can just take your queen. So you are not threatening checkmate, right?
Oh, yeah, true. Queen a6, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, you are a piece down, so you gotta threaten something important, right? So no, there is a better try here for white. Forcing moves, captures, checks, and threats. By threats, I mean threatening the queen or checkmate. Can we threaten the queen here? Yes, rook e1. And now probably you saw already, after queen f3 here, you have to think. Again, checks, captures, and threats.
Oh, yeah, queen d7. Yeah.
Queen d7. Even though, I mean, if you use this method, some moves at first sight, they will look stupid to you. But then maybe they are not. Like this queen d7. Queen d7, king f8, and now?
Queen takes c8.
Queen takes c8, bishop takes c8, and now rook d8 checkmate.
can you go back?
Yeah, I can go back here.
Queen there. Oh yeah. Never mind.
Okay. So this is a checkmate, right? So that's why Ganguly couldn't take the bishop on e2, and he went queen b7.
Queen b7.
Queen b7 in this position. So how do we continue with the white pieces? What do you think black is trying to move in the next, is trying to play in the next move? b3, other moves? What do you want to do with this rook? Rook h1. Trade this passive rook for this active rook, or at least dangerous rook.
Rook d1, rook gd1.
Rook gd1, then again, rook h1.
Then bishop e1.
That's kind of the idea. First, Magnus went for queen b6, chasing the queen. Now, do you think you can take on b6?
No.
No, because after pawn takes, this bishop is covering b8, and b7 is going to follow, and black has to resign. So that's why Ganguly kept insisting with this queen a8 in this diagonal in order to go rook h1. And then you saw brilliantly the idea that Magnus went for.
Now rook g to d1.
Rook g to d1, and now after rook h1, bishop e1. And now this bishop is also coming to this diagonal, taking this pawn on b4, and now things look very, very ugly for black in this position. Actually, Ganguly was in a desperate situation and played knight e5, sorry.
That's a free.
Now,
Yeah.
bishop b4 was played, rook d1, and queen c6. How do we continue?
Queen d4.
Queen d4, that's a move. Would you trade on c6? No, right? Because the black skin is in a dangerous situation. It's in the center, so I wouldn't take on c6, even though I love endgames, you know, because I don't like risking, as you said. It's a
Endgames is like real. It's usually like endgames are usually like this, really, really complicated or really, really simple.
exactly. I mean, rook endgames, for example, are so tough, are so complicated, right? People tend to think like, okay, the less pieces we have, the easier is to play. But this with rook endgames, not like that.
Did you saw today's Aronian game? He was
Yeah, for example,
Long time.
Aronian's game, today's Aronian's game was extremely tough to understand the rook endgame against,
one drawing move and long how missed it.
yeah, rook d3.
Yeah.
So against a Chinese player. Okay. So bishop b4, queen c6, and then we got plenty of moves. But for example, queen e3, as Magnus played, looks enough because we're attacking this knight on e5. And then Ganguly went queen b5. So protecting e5, attacking b4. c3? You want to go c3? Are you sure? How about this move now?
Bishop f5.
I'm not so sure. I mean, probably you're still winning, but you're risking your life here.
I think I lost.
What happens after king a1? I think nothing yet, but queen a4, bishop a3, and still you survive. But there's no need for this. So, play a safer move.
Bishop c.
Bishop c3, exactly. You protect b2, so this diagonal is never going to get open, and then how is black creating counterplay? So, and you're also attacking e5. So, rook c5 was played, and now there is a brilliant move again from Magnus Carlsen to finish the game.
Finish the game.
Oh yeah.
You saw it? Okay, let's see if the others can figure it out.
You only move. What are you talking?
You win material in the next move.
And the next move.
The next move. Yes.
Would be ultimate healing of the next.
Yes. I mean,
After you play this.
after you play this move, then black will struggle, and then you'll get some material for free. You'll get a piece for free.
Wow.
What? It's not easy. Queen?
D4.
Queen d4, rook d5, and okay, nothing happens, but you don't win anything. I see somebody in the YouTube channel figure it out already.
Bishop E5 and then I'll
Bishop?
E5.
Bishop e5.
And then I'm up a piece.
Yeah, but but then black gets a piece back, right? After rook e5.
They don't have to do it.
Yeah, exactly. They are not forced, but
Huh. Queen takes rook.
queen takes rook?
Yeah.
Really? After all this brilliant game, you want to sacrifice your queen for nothing?
Oh, after this brilliant game, I want to sacrifice this wall. No.
You want to finish it in brilliant style? So, can you
Looking style.
okay? Rook h1 is interesting, of course, but it's not made yet. This move wins material. You saw it? Tell me. b4. Crazy move. You never imagine like moving the pawn, just the b pawn, which is covering your king. But now the thing is, black can take en passant because the queen is hanging, and then your threat is queen takes c5. If the rook moves, then the knight falls.
Okay, that move is like all
And what happens after knight d7? You tell me.
rook d7.
Rook d7, exactly. And then queen c5 wins.
Exchange.
So
Winning a piece.
actually Ganguly went for knight d3. Just he was extremely desperate. So c takes d3, rook d5, and d takes c4, and he resigned because after rook d1, bishop takes, queen c4, you are only giving me one check, and then after king c1, there's no more checks. Okay, you have a check on a3, but that's nothing. I can always run away by a d2. Okay, so this was Magnus' game against Ganguly, and it was very important because he caught Mikhail Tal, because he managed to get 95 games without losing. And you know who's got the record in the wall? Like number of games without losing in the top tournaments in the Ding Liren. You know who's Ding Liren? He's a Chinese player. So he has 100 games without losing. I think Magnus now is in 97 or 98. 97, right? So, and he's playing in Isle of Man, so he can break this record. We'll see if this happens. So this concludes the lecture. Thank you for coming, and hope to see you probably next time I come to St. Louis, because this is my last day here. I'm coming back to Spain. Thank you guys for coming.